Hello, guys. Since the equality is established, what is the sum of A, B, and C? That's what's being asked. Okay, now, look guys, one side of the equation is already written with the smallest possible base in terms of exponents. So, I'm going to rewrite these expressions to resemble those, alright? Now look, 12 is actually the product of 4 and 3, right? Good. Isn't 4 just 2 squared? Look, I'll write it directly. 2 squared times 3 squared. Let's write it out nicely like this. And here, it's 4 over 100 to the power of negative 2. Alright? Let's not process this part just yet. First, let's tidy up these parts together. What do I do with this exponent? I'll distribute it to all of them. Look, from 2 to the second power. When you have a power raised to another power, you multiply the exponents. 4, 3 squared, times. Guys, if you have a negative exponent in rational numbers, you swap the positions of the numbers inside, and the exponent becomes positive. Are we clear? Good. In fact, these simplify nicely, don't they? I divided 100 by 4, 25, 2 to the 4th power times 3 squared times, friends. Look, this part became 25 squared. And 25 is 5 to the 2nd power. So, 2 to the 4th power times 3 squared from 5 squared. Guys, let me write it like this so it's a bit clearer for you. When you have a power raised to another power, you multiply the exponents. It became 4. That's it. Hasn't the system already given me this anyway? 2 to the power of A, 3 to the power of B, and 5 to the power of C, friends. Look, they're all right here. So, the value of A is 4. The value of B is 2, friends. And the value of C is also 4. If we add them up, friends, our result will be 10. Hi guys. Now we're going to look at an operation related to exponents. If you see addition or subtraction with exponents, friends, you should use the common factor as much as possible. Look, 8 to the power of 4 and 8 to the power of 3. So you can rewrite 8 to the power of 4 as 8 to the power of 3. 9 to the power of 3, 9 to the power of 4. So guys, you can also rewrite 9 to the power of 4 in the format of 9 to the power of 3. For example, what do I mean? If I write 8 to the power of 4 as 8 to the power of 3 times 8 to the power of 1. And here we had 9 to the power of 3, right? Good. Plus, look, we have 8 to the power of 3 again. You can also write 9 to the power of 4 here as 9 to the power of 3 times 9 to the power of 1. What did I say? I'm going to use the common factor parentheses. Look, 8 to the power of 3 and 9 to the power of 3 are common. Do we see that? Super. So you can factor these expressions as 8 to the power of 3 times 9 to the power of 3. I've taken those. Look, here we have an 8 and a 9. And there's addition in between. If I add them, this part will be 17. Let's do it like this. Here, friends, let's write 12 to the power of 5 as 12 to the power of 4 times 12 to the power of 1. Let's factor out 12 to the power of 4. Are we clear? We write it like this. I've opened the parentheses, friends. There's a 3 here. Dear friends, look, I had written 12 to the power of 4 and 12 to the power of 1. We have 112, and we also have a negative 2. Great. Now, if we tidy up this part, it will be 34. Let's simplify this with that, friends, so we get 2, right? 3 times 12 is 36. I subtracted 2 from 36. 34. We've simplified it. Now it's 8 to the power of 3 times 9 to the power of 3, right? This was left in the numerator, and, in the denominator. We have 12 to the power of 4 times 2 left. So now, you can do whatever you want here. You know, the exponents are equal. Look, you see, multiplication with exponents. If the exponents are equal, you can multiply the bases. Or, you can also do it like this. Like 8 times 8 times 8. For example, I can also simplify directly. Without dragging it out. I can say 12 times 12 times 12. Then add one more 12 and a 2. For example, let's divide by 4. That's 2. Let's divide by 4 again. Make it 3. 2, 3, 2, and 3. Alright, guys? Now look, let's cancel out this 2 with that 2 over there. Let's also cancel out the 3's and the 9's, friends. Look, I divided 9 by 3. That leaves 3 here. I divided 9 by 3. 3 is left. Again, I divided 9 by 3. 3 is left. Awesome. Now, there are 2 2's here, friends. 2 times 2 is 4. If you simplify 4 with 12, you'll get 3. And one of the 3's here will also simplify with this one. So, 3 times 3 will be 9. Like I said, from here on out, you can do whatever you want. This is how I did it. You can solve it however you like. Hello, friends. What is the real value of x that satisfies the equation? That's the question. Okay, now guys, I want to move the 3 in the denominator up to the numerator here. How can I do that? If you move this 3 up, friends, look, its exponent is +1. Since I'm moving it up, it will become -1. Alright, we're just making a small change in the operation here. What will you do? Break them down. 9 is the square of 3, right? Since exponents are multiplied, it becomes 3 to the power of 4x. This part equals 2 times. What do with these, friends? Look, we're going to break them down. How? It's 3 to the power of 2x times 3 to the power of 1, guys. Plus 75 times. Again, this part is also from 3 squared, friends. And since the exponents are multiplied, we write it as 3 to the power of 2x. Look, you can factor out 3 to the power of 2x here. Let's tidy up this part as well. Look, what did we have in exponents? It's the bases are the same, right? When multiplying, the exponents are added. So, 3 to the power of 4x minus 1 equals. We wrote it like this. What did I say about this part? You can factor out 3 to the power of 2x. We did that. Look, I pulled them out. There's a 2 from here and a 3 from here. Plus 75. Now, friends, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 75 makes this part. So right here, 81. Let's continue from here. 3 to the power of 4x minus 1 equals 3 to the power of 2x times. Guys, this part was 81. And that's 3 to the 4th power. Let's write 3 to the power of 4. Again, what do we do when multiplying here? With exponents, if the bases are the same, we add the exponents, right? Well, that's good. sorry. 3 to the power of 4x minus 1 equals 3 to the power of 2x plus 4. Great. Now, guys, with exponents, if the bases are the same, that means the exponents must also be equal. Let's do that here. So, you can say 4x minus 1 equals 2x plus 4. Guys, if you move the 2x to this side as minus 2x, you'll have 2x left here. And if I move the 1 to this side, plus 1, it will be equal to 5, right? Well, that's good. We were looking for x. Get rid of its coefficient, so divide both sides by 2. Then, the value of x will be 5 over 2 for us. Hello, guys. Now we're going to look at a question about exponents. What is the result of the operation? That's what was asked. Okay, now dear friends, when it comes to addition and subtraction with exponents like this, we use the common factor in parentheses. Agreed? So, if we examine the expressions above, who is the smallest exponent? It's 4 to the power of 3, right? So then, I should be able to write 4 to the power of 4 and 4 to the power of 5 here in the format of 4 to the power of 3. Okay? Let's get started. This part was already 4 to the power of 3. Guys, 4 to the power of 3 times. Look, I'm breaking it down. 4 to the power of 1. That's why I mentioned it. Now let's do the same for these here. 4 to the power of 3 times 4 to the power of 2. The same situation applies to the numbers below as well. Since the smallest exponent is 6, I'll write 2 to the power of 7 and 2 to the power of 8 in the format of 2 to the power of 6. Does it look like 2 to the power of 6 times 2 to the power of 1? Yes. Now guys, let's write this. 2 to the power of 6 times 2 to the power of 2. Good. I'm going to make an adjustment here. Now I'm factoring out 4 to the power of 3. Friends, just like this. Look, pay attention. I'm saying this for the first term. Since 4 to the power of 3 doesn't have a coefficient in front, you just write a 1 there instead. Because there isn't one. Plus, from here, there was 4 to the power of 1. 4 to the first power is 4. Plus 4 squared, guys, that gives us 16 here. Let's close it like this. From here, it's in the form of 2 to the power of 6, right? Let me quickly factor out the common term like this. 2 to the power of 6. Again, pay attention. There's no coefficient in front of the number here. So, instead, you just write a 1 there. Alright, good. From 2 to the first power, that's 2. And from 2 to the second power, that's 4. We wrote it out nicely like this. Now, let's do it like this. Now, guys, you can also write this part as a power of 2. Or as 4 to the third power. Actually, no need to multiply. Let me just tell you directly. 4, guys, is 2 squared. There's one more exponent, right? 3. So, it's a power raised to another power. In that case, you multiply the exponents. 2 to the power of 2 times 3 is 6. 16, 20. I added 21. Divided by, guys, 2 to the 6th times 4, 2 to the 6th, plus 1, makes 7. These cancel each other out nicely. When you divide 21 by 7, our result will be 3.